Hi, y'all. I'm Obscure Girl. I like movies. I like weird movies. I like weird, trippy, obscure movies that I feel like no one has seen or is talking about. Whether it be because they're just old, or the marketing was bad, or you're like, I think that was a fever dream I had when I was 5. I'm here to tell you it wasn't. So let's talk about it. And if you cannot tell, I like goth movies. I love everything gothic. Just every single kind of gothic there is. I love cybergoth, I love steampunk, I love whimsigoth, I love whimsigoth. I love pastel goth, I love Victorian goth, burlesque goth, vampire goth, every single kind there is. I am obsessed. If you can't tell just from... yeah.
But you just pointed to all of me. Yes.
So, I really just want to take a second. I've talked about gothic cartoons, I've talked about my favorite gothic influences. Now I just want to talk about gothic movies and what my favorites are. This was such a hard list for me to make because narrowing it down was an absolute nightmare for me. It was like picking between my children kind of thing. So I decided to kind of put them into categories for the most part, for most of them. There's some kind of subcategory that they fit into. There will be no animations or family, kids movies, whatever, because that's a video all unto itself. So this is for adults, gothic movies. I want to talk about my favorites. I want you to tell me about your favorites. Let's just get started. Number 13. The Bride of Frankenstein from 1939. This falls into the classic horror genre for me. This is absolutely out of Universal Monster films. This is absolutely probably my favorite. Dracula, of course, is very much up there. I love all of them. I absolutely do. I'm going to have a whole episode on that this October anyway. But The Bride of Frankenstein is going to have my number 1 spot because it's just so fabulous and creative. And very, very, very gothic, of course. This is the story of the Frankenstein's monster who is still on the loose. It picks up basically directly after the first movie ends. And the monster is just trying to find out who he is. If you've seen the Guillermo del Toro version, this is basically Act 2, when you get from the monster's view. And he doesn't want to be alone anymore, and he wants a wife. And he ends up finding a very sinister and morally interesting Dr. Pretorius, who says he will help him get Dr. Frankenstein to make him a mate. He wants to reprocreate and see scientifically if there can be just a new species of dead people, and the monster just doesn't want to be alone anymore and wants to have someone like him. Again, we all know the story, most likely. I absolutely adore Elsa Lancaster's performance in this. Just absolutely unbelievable.
Icy creeps.
So this is what's kind of funny and a little bit contradictory. I love all the imagery of just the bride and Frankenstein's monster together, all those cutesy pictures and portraits and photos. But that's not this movie. The movie is, she doesn't want him either. He finally has the only woman for him, and she doesn't want him either because she knows they belong dead, and then finally he does as well. It is beautiful and heartbreaking and sad. I like both sides of the story. I like the one where a woman has autonomy, even if she's literally with the only man possible for her. And I also like the idea of just those two freaks whose crazy perfectly matches each other and they found each other. I love both sides. My favorite scene from this movie, though, is when you meet Dr. Pretorius and he's made all of these tiny people in jars. There's a little king and queen, a little mermaid, a little ballerina, and I really just always thought that part was so cool ever since I was a kid. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about it today. Number 12. Crimson Peak from 2015. This fits into the Guillermo del Toro category. Yes, he gets his own category. And while I absolutely adore him as a director, I think he's fantastic. Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, The New Frankenstein, all of those were very, very high up in possibilities for this list. But Crimson Peak, man, is just, I'm so sorry, but peak Gothic Victorian horror. It is so beautiful. This is the story of Mia Wasikowska's character, whose name is now escaping me. I'll probably put it right here. But she wants to be a writer and she wants to be an independent woman. And she ends up meeting Tom Hiddleston's character, Thomas Sharp, who he and his sister, Jessica Chastain, who are coming to town and they're looking for money, but ends up, he ends up kind of falling for her and vice versa. And when her father passes away, she marries him and ends up going to his family estate. Meanwhile, she can see ghosts, and the ghosts in this movie are incredible. Just the absolute gory, beautiful imagery that comes from Guillermo del Toro's mind is just next level incredible, and you know that it's him. Like, he did this. So that was really cool on in itself. And of course, there are twists and turns, and the ghosts are, while terrifying, also trying to help her. And it's just this beautiful background. I love that Crimson Peak is called what it is because of the red clay that permeates the ground. So when you're walking through the snow and it gets to the clay, it looks like the snow is bleeding. That's so incredible. But just the imagery throughout this entire thing is absolutely breathtaking. I will throw out there, it's not a horror movie. It was very much shown as a horror movie when it was being marketed and everything. But when we went to see it in theaters, my best friend and I went to see it because our birthdays are 2 weeks apart. So we saw it in the week in between. And we're just like, that wasn't scary. It was pretty. It wasn't scary. It's a Gothic romance. This is very much a Gothic romance movie, and the last thing I will say about it that has nothing to do with Gothic whatsoever is that this is the movie that made Charlie Hunnam the lovable best friend character, and that was ballsy. Like, Tom Hiddleston, don't get me wrong, but getting Charlie Hunnam to play opposite him was a choice. It worked, and I don't know how it worked, but it was a choice. Number 11. Batman Returns from 1992. This movie is so cozy. This fits into the superhero Gothic genre because Batman. But I have always just thought this was such a cozy movie. I love watching it around wintertime, around Christmas time, because it does take place around Christmas and New Year's. But the atmosphere of this movie has always been just such a comfort to me. And Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman is the Catwoman. That is who I will compare Catwoman to and against for eternity.
Yeah.
Yes, I loved Eartha Kitt. I loved Anne Hathaway even. But Michelle Pfeiffer was ultimate Catwoman in that leather outfit with the nails and the voice. Like, oh my God. Just that. I don't know about you, Miss Kitty, but I'm feeling so much yummier. Like, oh my God. I might have just gotten myself a little bit there. Wow. That movie, and just with Danny DeVito's The Penguin, which was just peak. Michael Keaton is my Batman. He will always be my Batman. I think he just gives the character the most personality.
We're the same. Split. Right down the center.
And is the least insufferable sometimes. Because I love Bruce Wayne. Batman's my favorite hero. But you gotta admit, the whole self-sacrificey bit can get a little bit much at times. So Michael Keaton was definitely the one I'm just like, yeah, no, that one, I understand you. But anyway, the vibes, oh my God, the Christopher Walken playing Max Schreck of it all, which also Max Schreck being the original actor who played Nosferatu, the original Count Orlok. I don't think that had anything to do with anything, but it was just a really nice nod and I appreciated it. Also, it's a Tim Burton movie. And I think I like Tim Burton, maybe a little bit. So obviously this is on the list somewhere. Number 10, Bride of Chucky from 1998. Yeah, this is going to be in my slasher category. I also put slash bad girl category, but that is so many of these, it's not even funny. What can I say about Tiffany and Jennifer Tilly, except for if you take my hero, Elvira, and my best friend Haley's hero, Dolly Parton, their love child is Jennifer Tilly. So that in itself is going to make me love her forever. I love her voice. I love her vibe. I love Tiffany.
Barbie, eat your heart out.
Just ultimate bad girl. I love everything about her creativity. I love her wit and sense of humor.
Well, hello, Dolly.
And I love just how amazingly sadistic she can be. And when she turns into the doll, oh my God. I also just always love at the beginning the nod to Bride of Frankenstein in this movie. Just that scene with her in the bathtub has always just had a special place in my heart for some reason. But yeah, this is the movie where it is the continuation of Child's Play. Technically, it's Child's Play 4. And then Tiffany is a character in all the subsequent movies after that and the series that is the most recent adaptation. And she's just absolutely fantastic. This movie is where Charles Lee Ray's ex-girlfriend tries to bring him back as Chucky one more time and ends up finding out that he actually never really cared about her as much as she thought. So she ends up kind of locking him up, and then he ends up killing her and turning her into a doll. So now they're in this together. It is so gory. It is so slash-tastic. I love me a good slasher movie. I have always been, will always be a Freddy Krueger girl. But if you're going for the Gothic vibes, just Tiffany.
Awake! Awake, awake, awake!
Number 9, Lisa Frankenstein from 2024. I've talked about this movie on this channel so many freaking times. This is my Whimsigoth movie. I love this so much. I really want to stress again how much the movie itself is not what was shown in the trailers at all. The trailers very much made you think this whole movie was kind of played out and you know exactly what's going to happen. That's not the movie. So this is a story about a girl named Lisa whose dad has moved on fairly quickly after her mother was brutalized by a home invader serial killer and is only just now started speaking again. However, her stepmother, played by Carla Gugino, just thinks she's looking for attention. And her stepsister, Taffy, who really does love her and wants to be her sister and is trying to look out for her, even though she is really self-absorbed and really clueless about life.
She could probably even do pageants if she had congeniality.
But she's trying. And Lisa just feels very much alone. And she likes to hang out at this abandoned, gorgeous cemetery where she does like rubbings of all the tombstones and everything like that and tends to the graves. And one of them is a bust of Cole Sprouse. It's just Cole Sprouse. And through a series of mishaps, misadventures, she ends up accidentally bringing him back to life in a very Frankenstein's monster kind of manner. And I love the most about this movie how Lisa just yes-ands life. Is just very quickly like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. All right, moving on from here. All right, this happened. All right, how do we deal with this now? And it's just very much yes-anding life. And I think that's the funniest part of the movie. But the big thing that's different from the trailer as well is that the trailer made it seem like she was in love with a dead person. She wasn't. She had a crush on some douchebag. That is not the movie that we ended up getting. It ended up being something so much better and threw you for a loop like left and right, which was really cool because I don't see that a lot. I watch a lot of movies. I can usually predict the ending in the first 5 minutes, like a lot of us who watch a lot of movies can. So seeing what they did with this, and I love so much that like the machine that helps reanimate things is a busted, glitchy tanning bed from the 80s, because this is very 80s, by the way. That's another part of the charm. But this movie is such a delight. It is so fun to watch, and I could not recommend it enough. Clearly. I've done this in like 4 videos now. Number 8, Queen of the Damned from 2002.
Come out wherever you are.
Yeah, I know. I still love this movie. I know a lot of people definitely don't. This I would put into a category like an Anne Rice category, but also like a rock goth category because the music is very much a character in this. I am obsessed with the soundtrack. I always have been. I love Stuart Townsend as Lestat. I read the books. I love Anne Rice's work, and I think that Stuart Townsend did a really good job at making Lestat this, yeah, he was a broody boy, but Lestat's a broody boy. He's also super charismatic and very self-centered but lonely and very outgoing but internal at the same time. It's a very complex character, and I think he nailed a lot of it. This is the follow-up to Interview with the Vampire, the one with Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise.
Still whining.
And this one is Lestat becomes a rock star, which there's now a TV show about this entire movie. I really like that Lestat as well, but Stuart Townsend might be my favorite. I don't know. I actually did love Tom Cruise's one as well. But anyway, I don't think there's been a bad Lestat yet. I don't think there has been. But Lestat is now a rock star and he's still lonely. Meanwhile, we have Jessie, who is a girl who works for the Talamasca, which, God, I can't wait for that show. But the Talamasca is the organization that observes the supernatural while is not being a part of it. They just document, they observe, and they move on.
It's funny. I would have pegged you for a Talamascan.
Well, Jessie becomes a little bit obsessed with Lestat when she finds his old journal of when he first turned into a vampire, and when he accidentally awoke the original Queen of the Vampires, Akasha. This movie is absolutely great. Like I said, the music is very much a character in it. It's like a gorgeous gothic sexy music video with vampires from beginning to end. Definitely, I know a lot of people, this is not their favorite in this whole franchise adaptations, but I've always loved it.
That makes you a very clever librarian.
Number 7, The Craft from 1996. I'm sorry, was there a part of this persona that you didn't think wasn't directly influenced by this movie? Yeah, I watched The Craft as a kid. A lot. And yeah, I played light as a feather, stiff as a board as every single sleepover. And we did seances. And there may or may not have been some blood rituals going on. It's fine. We were 13. It's what all 13-year-old girls do, right? Right? If you don't know, this is the movie that took the 90s by storm and influenced an entire generation of little goth girls to be their best witchy selves. This is the movie of a girl who comes to a new high school and is immediately befriended by the outcast group, which the whole school thinks are witches. And that's, convenient and kind of perceptive for them, since they are. Which is funny, because a lot of them don't seem that perceptive. But it's not like these girls are really hiding what they are. They are the weirdos, mister.
You girls watch out for those weirdos.
We are the weirdos, mister.
However, this shows very much the downside of witchcraft and all the things that us little witchies learned as a cautionary tale at a very young age to be aware of and to be cautious of. Because, first of all, you have high school girl dynamics where majority rules and an outsider and a threat is immediately ostracized, and things get bad, except when you're witches and you have one that's immediately alienated out of the group because she thinks you're going too far. They go too far, and trauma happens. It's so fun. It is a great soundtrack as well. Veruza Balk is just everything. Veruza Balk is everything. Number 6, Sleepy Hollow from 1999. Yeah, this is in the Johnny Depp category. And boy, was this one hard for me to pick. Because of course, you have Edward Scissorhands, you have Sweeney Todd, you just have Johnny Depp as a person. However, when it comes to the Gothic category, this one, I think, not only goes the hardest into goth, but also is just the most comforting for me personally. Like, I can throw Sleepy Hollow on and just be cozy and feel fall and just love everything about this movie, because I love everything about this movie. This is clearly based on The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, and this was the first adaptation I had seen other than the Disney cartoon, which I thought was really, really great. They go hard into the period piece Gothic, like between the mist and the costumes and the fall atmosphere and the Christina Ricci and the Miranda Richardson and the 5 old men from every other wizarding Gothic movie I've ever seen in my childhood. Alfred from Batman is there. It's a really, really fantastic movie, and I cannot stress that enough. I love how in this one, Ichabod is not the school teacher, he's actually a detective, and he wants to use reasoning and science in order to bust the bad guys, while everyone else just wants to resort to religious torture. And then, of course, the Christopher Walken, again, of it all. Christopher Walken makes another appearance on this list, go figure, as the Headless Horseman, the Hessian. And it's just this... The score is so amazing. Danny Elfman, just mwah. And everything about it just makes me smile. And it's funny because this is a really gory movie, but I guess a lot of gory movies make me smile, so that doesn't really count. But this is one of the first things I will throw on as soon as the leaves start changing. I am just so ready to dive into this movie. And that is why it takes the Johnny Depp category even though that was really hard because obviously I love all of his movies. And I'm so sorry, Edward Scissorhands. I hope you understand it. Number 5, Van Helsing from 2004. Yeah, I kind of had to make up a category for this one, and I went with action goth. Honestly, because I already used up classic in the first one. But I love this movie so much. This is Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale, and they are absolutely spectacular and stunning. And everything about this movie, I could have just made it leather. I could have made it leather goth, honestly, because that was really big in this. But this is an absolute tribute to the Universal Monster movies, with Hugh Jackman playing the titular Van Helsing, who has been the hand of this organization that hunts down monsters and either tries to save them but usually ends up killing them, and has no memory of who he was before coming to this organization. So he ends up getting sent on a mission to help this Romanian countryside village who have been plagued by vampires. Now, this is the first time he has ever dealt with a vampire, and he is dealing with Count Dracula himself and his 3 gorgeous wives, who I quote a lot. I quote this movie a lot. There are a lot of quotes I use. Cue the montage.
Too bad. So sad.
I didn't want to go to Transylvania.
I think if you're going to kill someone, kill them. Don't stand there talking about it.
Hello, Gabriel.
But this is really, really just... I know a lot of people are like, it's not a good movie. It's a fantastic movie. I do not understand when people say this is a bad movie. I just had a conversation with one of my friends who was like, no, it's a really enjoyable movie. It's a bad movie, but it's really enjoyable. I don't even get that. I love this movie. It just makes me feel all the good feels. It is so goth, and the actor that plays Dracula in this, I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff, and he gives me a huge case of the cringe and the ick, but in this one, it's just like...
This is not all I could do with your skin.
Oh, hey. Yeah, okay. And then Kate Beckinsale in all of her leather-clad glory was just so inspirational as a person and other things. Yeah, so this is Van Helsing. He encounters the Wolfman very closely, encounters Frankenstein's monster, and of course Dracula, and it's just so much fun. It is so much fun. I love their version of Igor in this, just a little, like, backhanded whatever, but I still really like him in this. I think the atmosphere is absolutely perfect. I think the costumes are fantastic. I think it's fun and funny and just a great time.
I give to you Van Helsing!
Number 4, The Crow from 1992. I'm out of categories. From this point forward, there are no categories. It's just goth. And this movie is absolutely beautiful. I cannot tell you how hard it was to choose between my 3rd and 4th place for this. It was really, really close, and just kind of came down to which one makes me cry more. And so The Crow, as much as I love it and I do end up crying, it's not as much as the next one. But anyway, we're talking about The Crow now. We're talking about the fantastic, the late Brendan Lee, and how gorgeous this movie is and how beautifully quotable it is. And this is the movie, if you do not know, I could have gone with comic book, I guess, for the theme for this one. But this is the gothic movie that takes place in Michigan on Devil's Night, which is the nights before Halloween, where fires are set, mostly by gang members. But there are a lot of fires set, and a lot of crime and a lot of vandalism happens. And unfortunately, Brendan Lee and his girlfriend Shelley, Eric Draven is the character name, by the way. Eric Draven. God, I love that. It's such a good name. Anyway, Eric and Shelley are brutally, horrendously tortured and murdered in their home one night, and a year later, through folklore and crows, Brendan Lee, Eric Draven, is brought back from the dead in order to avenge him and his late fiancée. And he ends up going after all the people that ended up being the ones that murdered them, but on top of that, he also ends up going for their boss, the head of this giant crime organization that basically runs the city. And also just this beautiful, beautiful subplot with Sarah, who was like Shelley's little sister who has a horrible mom and they took care of her, and giving her closure and being able to say goodbye. And also with Ernie Hudson, who is the police officer who handled that case and who also helps take care of Sarah. It's so gorgeous. I'm going to get choked up. I'm not going to get choked up. It is, again, also a really good action movie. It is so utterly quotable. It can't rain all the time.
Can't rain all the time.
And oh my gosh, I'm trying not to get emotional, guys. Just watch The Crow. Just the night before Halloween, just watch The Crow, because fires burn, people die, but true love lasts forever.
Buildings burn, people die, but real love is forever.
Number 3, Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992. Yeah, like I said, it was really, really hard for me to pick between The Crow and this. But at the end of the day, this movie makes me cry more than The Notebook or any other Nicholas Sparks movie has ever done. I love this movie so much. I have not seen the newest adaptation, which is basically supposed to be more of an adaptation of this movie than of the book. I need to. I'm just not emotionally prepared. But this movie is amazing. Winona Ryder, Gary Oldman, Keanu Reeves. Not his best performance, but it's still pretty great. You've got Richard E. Grant, you've got Cary Elwes, and it's just an absolutely fantastic movie. It is an adaptation of the original Bram Stoker's novel, obviously. You have Sir Anthony Hopkins, who plays Van Helsing in this. It is very gothic, and it is very gorgeous, and I love how it just centers on how much Dracula loves Mina, and how much they were just fated to be together throughout time and space. And
I have crossed oceans of time to find you.
How through horrible decisions and horrible circumstances and fate, they end up just never being able to be together, which that part always sucks, hence the crying snot that happens at the end of the movie every single time. But it's gorgeous, and just seeing the lengths he's willing to go for her, even though, yeah, at one point he does hook up with her best friend, which wasn't great. It was a great scene, but it wasn't great. Also, this movie is one of the sexiest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Just so many of the scenes are insane. But the costumes are amazing, the story is amazing, and the performances, I even love how bad Keanu Reeves is in this movie, because I think it is perfect for that character, because Jonathan Harker is vanilla pudding. He is blank page of a character. He is insert male protagonist without personality, and I think that was really kind of important to the role. So the fact that he played it so wooden, I think that's just Jonathan Harker. He thinks he's, the leading man, but he's not. So it doesn't really matter. The point is that Dracula is offering Mina this life of adventure and romance and passion and autonomy.
Take me away from all this death.
And Jonathan Harker is promising her the same thing every other douchebag is offering her back in Victorian England. So there is that. But this movie is gorgeous. Number 2, Repo, the Genetic Opera from 2008. In the not too distant future, an epidemic of organ failures. Millions die. Out of the chaos, a savior emerges. Sorry, I will recite dramatically the entire opening scenes just because I can. Have I mentioned this movie before? I'm not sure. I don't, maybe only 5 or 6 times. I am obsessed with this movie. If you cannot flip and tell, Repo the Genetic Opera, which was Terrence Sundrick's masterpiece, produced by Darren Lynn Bousman. You have Alexa Vega in the main role as Shiloh, who is a girl who has a blood disease, and her father, played by the late Giles, Anthony Head, is her father and her doctor, who keeps a very tight leash on her, and she is not allowed to leave, and she has to take her medication, and it's the whole thing. Meanwhile, her mother passed away when she was born, and that set off a whole bunch of shiznit, because half the scenes in this movie are comic book flashbacks to when her mother was still alive, and how many lives she influenced, and how much it messed people up when she died. because this is the land where there has been an epidemic of organ failures. However, Roddy Largo started GeneCo, which would offer organ financing, so you could make payments when your organs failed. However, if you miss 3 payments in a row, Roddy Largo had a bill passed through Congress that makes organ repossessions legalized, and he will send the repo man to come get your organ while you are still using it. Sometimes, usually just like in a dark alleyway, he'll just come and get it, and the organs have barcodes, and it's so delightfully dark humor. And the whole thing's a musical, and Paris Hilton's face falls off. And yeah, the whole thing is sung. It's an opera. You have the great Sarah Brightman, the original Christine Daae herself in The Phantom's Obsession, is Blind Mag, who just brings her glorious, glorious talents to this dark screen. It is so gory. The entire thing is sung. The music will stay with you. It is hauntingly beautiful, and Paris Hilton's face falls off. Also, Terrence Zundrick himself plays the grave robber, who is kind of the narrator throughout all of this, and his dark, gravelly voice is just the inspiration behind a whole bunch of audiobooks for the novels that women like me read.
Zydrate comes in a little glass vial.
A little glass vial? A little glass vial.
And just if you haven't seen Repo, I have my second episode ever on this channel was about Repo because I just love it that much. Check it out. It's amazing. If you don't like musicals, you probably won't like it. If you don't like gory things, you definitely won't like it. But if you are in that amazing, amazing section of the Venn diagram when gore, goth, and musical all combine, you will find Repo. But my number one favorite Gothic movie of all time, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, from 1988. Yeah, definitely mentioned this one before. I feel like I might get some grumbles on this because my top spot for a Gothic movie is a horror comedy, and the majority of the Gothic elements are Elvira herself and her accessories and her home and her dog. But I think that's kind of part of the point, is that she is this Gothic black light in a sea of just fluorescence. It's amazing. This is the movie that's supposed to be Elvira, Mistress of the Dark's backstory, where she was doing her movie Macabre and then ends up quitting because the station manager is a piece of stuff, and ends up realizing that she has a great aunt Morgana that recently passed away and has left her stuff. And she just really wants to get her Las Vegas residency going. And so she goes, hoping for a big inheritance, and turns out she got a house, a dog, and a cookbook. But doesn't realize that those 3 elements also equal to her being the new Mistress of the Dark and inheriting that title. And has to go to this small town full of old busybodies and people that are terrified of fun because it's the devil. And Elvira shows up and she just wants to get out as much as they want her to get out, but they make it impossible for her to get out. And so just gets stuck in this cycle of her making their lives crazy and vice versa. And her mean old Uncle Vincent really, really, really wants all that stuff that she's got, and is willing to do horrible things to do it because he actually knows that it all means that he would be Master of the Dark, and he's not someone that should be Master of the Dark. There is witchcraft trials, there is killer casserole, there is the coolest dog I've ever seen in my life besides Scooby-Doo, and Elvira just seeping into my core DNA, my genetic coding, and turning me into what you see before you today.
A gal with the enormous ratings.
I love this movie. I was like, are you gonna put that as your number one? Are you sure? But then I was like, it's the reason you're goth. So yeah, it's gonna be my number one. And that was my list. I can't believe I got through that without crying. That was good for me. Yeah, I love Gothic movies. This was absolutely brutal to just have to narrow it down, so I'm probably going to make a whole bunch of other videos of all the subgenres that could have gone into here, and of course, at some point, I will make all my favorite Gothic kids movies along the way as well. But one day at a time. I hope you enjoyed this list. I hope you like my picks. I'm so sorry if some of yours didn't make it, even though they were most likely on my long list, just maybe not on my short list, hence why all the categories had to go into there. But please let me know what your favorites are. Let me know if you disagree with any of mine. I'm sure there'll be a couple that disagree with a couple of them. But that's what this channel is for. It's for discussion. It's for coming together as a community who just love the same things and want to talk about them, because sometimes we don't have those people in our lives that we can talk to this stuff about. So anyway, if you like this channel and you like my stuff, please check out the rest of my channel. Please check out the rest of my stuff. Please like this video. Again, comment what you thought. Comment your favorites from this, ones that you wish were on the list. I need to know, especially if you end up watching any that you hadn't seen before because of this list. I need to know that. Just new purpose in life. Also, please check me out on Patreon, because I could definitely go for upping the quality of these videos more. I just want to keep making this stuff better for you guys and for me, because this is fun. I've been Obscure Girl. The rest is confetti.